One of the things I kind of teach is rely on self, because, if you're waiting for somebody to come and bail you out of the cavalry, you're going to be waiting a very long time. In fact, that's what I did for 31 years of my life. I kind of waited for somebody to give me the opportunity to be the best that I could. And actually, it never happened. So I had to make it happen. And this was a great example of that, this whole COVID situation, which was making something happen when actually some people choose to wait and see.
Welcome back to the Believe in Yourself podcast. Today's guest found themselves in 2005 with £25,000 in personal debt, delivering pizzas to keep his startup marketing business afloat. Today, he is the UK's #1 motivational business speaker and founder of the multi-million pound international business network that he started for networking. He is also the author of 4 best-selling business books and is the highest rated business author on Amazon. Don't let his t-shirt fool you. This is a speaker who will change forever the way you think about life, business, and your approach. Please welcome to the Believe in Yourself podcast, Brad Burton.
Luke, I love that. That's good. Thank you so much for the lovely intro.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for your time today and joining me on this exciting podcast. How are you doing during these times?
So, COVID situation, my business collapsed. That's the reality of it. So COVID come along, and when you run 5,000 networking meetings in real life networking meetings, and COVID says lockdown comes along and says you cannot no longer have meetings, then guess what? Your business has collapsed. So what we've had to do, we've had to take it online. So it's been a difficult, testing, challenging 3 months, but we've done it. We've taken it online, and we've taken, maybe half the groups online. So we are surviving. We are surviving, which is the best anyone could hope for. Because, like I say, 3 months ago, mate, we was on our knees, and I wouldn't get to that. But challenging times for everyone. This, not only from a financial perspective, but also from a mental perspective as well.
Of course. And why is it important that when you get faced those challenges in life that you suddenly look at a positive aspect and you try and make it work despite just admitting defeat and saying, this COVID thing's going to get the better of me, like you could have done?
Well, listen, I mean, the alternative is when you've got a pair of twos, you might as well go all in, which is where we was from a poker perspective. We said, you know what, we've got nothing to lose, we'll go all in. And what I did, the most honest video I've ever done, I went onto my phone networking community, which is on Facebook, just short of 30,000 members. And I did a live video, and I said, listen, we are now in a fight for survival. And what we do and what you guys do over the course of the next few days will dictate whether or not phone networking continues or not. And this is the thing, I think so many people were waiting for the cavalry. So many people were waiting for Rishi Sunak to sort it out or Boris to sort it out. And what people kind of fail to remember or to think about is that those individuals, those politicians, those leaders, they're human beings just like you and I. They'll have the same worries about their family and lockdown and so forth. And actually, one of the things I kind of teach is rely on self, because, if you're waiting for somebody to come and bail you out of the cavalry, you're going to be waiting a very long time. In fact, that's what I did for 31 years of my life. I kind of waited for somebody to give me the opportunity to be the best that I could. And actually, it never happened. So I had to make it happen. And this was a great example of that, this whole COVID situation, which was making something happen when actually some people choose to wait and see. And whilst you're waiting and see, those people, when this is all over, and it will be over at some point, there's going to be a column. And on that column is going to be losers, big losers, winners and big winners. What you do today will dictate whether you end up on the losers column or the winners column.
No, I completely agree. And it's one of those times where we all have to, for me, it's been about finding peace in the storm. And finding when you find that peace, then it's about realizing, right, how can you give back? Because yes, as a business perspective, it's about making money, but I think at this moment it's about supporting people and giving back as much as you can, and those are the ones who'll stick by you in the long term.
Well, I had a burnout as a result of this whole situation. I mean, I had a nervous breakdown 8 years ago, and I managed to overcome that. I sussed it out, and actually, I thought I was impervious throughout all this. I thought I was bulletproof. And what's happened is my adrenaline. That's what's kept me up. Because I got myself into war mode 3 months ago, and I said, you know what, fuck this. I'm not getting blown about by this thing. Got myself into war mode, and every single day you're drinking coffee, Red Bulls, and you're fired up, and that gives you a shield. This adrenaline gives you a shield. Now, when that adrenaline runs out, it's a bit like driving a sports car. You drive a sports car, if you've got no oil in it, whether you're driving slow, whether you're driving fast, you're fucking the engine up. And that's basically what I did. So the last 2 weeks, this is probably my second interview I've done in 2 weeks. I've spent the last 2 weeks effectively, well, the first week in bed whilst I recovered and recharged. And actually, this is what I didn't even see it. Years ago, the old way that it would work was, you'd be a caveman and a saber-toothed tiger attacks the village and you run out there with a spear, you go and get it, kill it, and it's like, yeah, okay, you can relax. We, I, you, us, the entire nation has been in that fight or flight mode for the last 3 months. And that thing starts working, really burning against you. And actually, in my case, as I said, it was a bit like driving a sports car with no oil. So I've had to let up. I've had to recognise that actually you cannot be 100 mile an hour all the time.
No, I love that. And thank you for sharing that so open and honestly, because it's, yet again, something that people don't talk enough about. They see yourself being the number one motivational speaker. Oh, he must be motivated 100% of the time. Well, no, I'm a human just like you and
Absolutely.
We all have those bad days.
That's right. Well, listen, it's not a bad day. This is the thing about it. This is, look, I work at this optimum performance in terms of my ability to be able to move faster. And I can get to my decision-making process shortly. But the whole thing that I do was it was all sussed. It was all as it should be. Then all of a sudden, it's like having a bucket. It's having a bucket. You've got it 80-90% full and you can handle it. And all of a sudden, COVID comes along and puts another 120% in. And it's like, something's got, you cannot put any more in. So what has ended up happening is there was no slack. I thought I had it all under control. It did. And then COVID comes along and then all of a sudden, guess what? You've got no slack anymore. Thank you so much, Kate. Wife.
Hi.
Sorry, Luke, go.
But what a lot of people need to realise that during these times is about learning about yourself and using these opportunities to grow as an individual, to learn about, ways you can avoid burning out in the future. But I'd like to come back to, yourself as a young person growing up, your early life, and find out a little bit more about, how you got started as a young person.
So I mean, I left school 16, no qualifications, did a YTS, youth training scheme, apprenticeships, as they call them now. And then I got involved in retail, then ended up becoming a computer games reviewer, which was amazing. Like, being 18-year-old playing computer games and getting paid for it. It was like, what, for a magazine? And then I ended up getting involved in the rave scene, which was quite fun. In 2019-20, going out raving every weekend. That was great fun back in the good old days. And then when I was 21 years old, 1995, I got shot at. And it caused me to move away from Salford, Manchester, my home of 21 years. And I moved away to Somerset. And, I was depressed when I moved to Somerset. And I look back now and think, why was you depressed? I'll tell you why I was depressed. It's because I wanted to go back to a life that no longer existed. I wanted to go back to life before all this happened, before my life changed. I had to stay away from my friends and everything. I was alone over in Somerset, Western-super-Mare. So that was really a big turning point for me. I never had a childhood, but I never had that sort of young, 21, 24-year-old, that kind of normality. I didn't have that. And that's what's really interesting about anything when people lose a part of their life. I know people who've been banged up. And when they come out, they're kind of reckless, because they're trying to catch up for the time that they've lost. And I think that's what happened with me. I think I was, frustrated that I'd lost 4 years of my life being frustrated. And I kind of got a bit more reckless as I got into my late 20s, should I say. Yeah.
And do you think that adversity through your childhood has been a foundation for your success today?
Yeah, no question. I mean, when I say adversity, my dad left when I was 6 months old, and that was probably the biggest thing. There's no abuse throughout my life, none whatsoever. We brought up in council estates, this, that, and the other. My mum brought me up as a single parent. So I've had a good, balanced, working class upbringing. So I've got no traumas that I can talk about. So there's no traumas that happened. So nothing to talk about. But what I think has really served me is my kind of street smarts, because on paper I probably should have been a bank robber. People laugh at that, but I probably should have been. And then somewhere along the way, my ability to move fast and also be a bit of a risk taker, it has served me, no question. And I actually always ask the question whenever I do anything: am I going to get arrested? If the answer is no, go and do it. Now I kind of applies to my business and the way that I market things.
Yeah, of course, and I think it's those who take the bigger risks often get the biggest wins. And sometimes people look at risks and they see fear and they see all the negative sides of what if, as opposed to you dreaming what if. Oh, well, what if this is a massive success?
Well, the thing is with this, about success, what success is. See, everyone's version of success is different, and then what happens is we get foisted on us by society, by Instagram, squad goals hashtag, and we think that having a £30,000 watch is success, or we're having a £3 million yacht is success, or having and actually it's not. You know, I'm just a lad from Salford, Manchester, and actually that's not what success is for me. Success is for me is owning an arcade machine, which I do, right? You know, it's like a childhood dream. That's success. And people have got to find their success, not have it foisted on them by what people believe. You need to go and buy a 1,500 quid handbag, or you need to have a £2,000 pair of shoes. You know, success for me is having 10 pairs of Adidas Superstar. You know, whatever your success is. And that's something that I think I major on in terms of my ability to be able to tell people to look, find your version of success, not what society has told you need success to be.
No, great message. I think everyone really should take that on board. It's like I said, it's finding success of what your terms is and not based on what someone else is telling you.
Luke, I'll tell you, I've got a 5-bedroom house where I live, and I've got one room that I don't go in. I had this dream of getting a 10-bedroom mansion. That I could work really hard and get a 10-bedroom mansion. And actually, I could get a 10-bedroom mansion if I really wanted to apply myself. What's the point? I just ended up with 6 rooms that don't go in. You know, and we end up chasing stuff. And I've got a mate of mine who's he lives over in Mayfair and he's got an £8 million property, and he's just excavated the basement, and he's going through the divorce at the moment. I managed to break down, and I went to see him, and he said, "Oh, come downstairs, show me downstairs." Turn the light on. He's got a 40-foot cinema, velvet thing, popcorn machine, ticketing machine, all this sort of stuff. The thing is, wow, look at that, all the lights. I said, "Do you want to have a game of FIFA on PS4 on it?" Not really, no. But you know, and I said, "You know what you need now, Steve?" He said, "What's that?" I said, 38 fucking friends. You know, he spent all that time and money, and a good divorce lawyer. He spent all that time and money creating something that he's never going to realise because, you know, he took his eye off the ball with his marriage, or he took his eye off the ball. Wouldn't it be better have had a £4 million property that you actually stay married, and rather than go through divorce? I just see too many people get what I call success. They're ill. They get it wrong. Success. This is what happened. This book here. You know, that's what I had. Success. I was making loads of money. More money than I could ever dream of, and yet I was shot to pieces mentally. That's not success. And I remember walking with dog Tyson, Labradoodle, and I was walking him, and I said to him, I said, "You know, I was crying, saying I just want to feel normal. I just want to feel normal. I just want to feel normal." And this is where people get all twisted. They think that, you know, having daft cars is going to fix your life. It doesn't. I promise you.
You talked there about you had to fix yourself mentally. You know, how did you fix yourself, or what was the steps that you took to get yourself mentally prepared?
Prepared for fixed after I had a nervous breakdown.
Yes.
Yeah. It took time. That's the reality of it. And actually, if it takes you 3 years or 40 years to get into a mess, you know, in your life, it's probably going to take you 40 years to get out of it. And actually, you know, there's a combination of everything where I had it all twisted in terms of I could only focus on one thing. And what I mean by that is my primary focus back then was business. So if I had a list of the three priorities, number 1 was my business, number 2 was my family, number 3 was my health. And guess what? I had a nervous breakdown. I was 3 stone overweight, got type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart problems, or would have if we continued. So now I flipped that, and actually my priority is 1, health, 2, family, 3, business. Because the rest, honestly, at some point, your health is going to become your priority. So why wait? So with that whole thing, I recognised it was going to take me time to fix. And what I was concerned about 2 weeks ago, when I kind of burnt out, was that this was going to be a long-term fixture. That somewhere along the way, I broke myself again, unbeknown to me. But I didn't. You know, the reality is after 2 weeks, I'm good, which I'm proper, like I say, glad. Because like I said, if this goes, everything goes.
And when it comes down to, you know, you said there, obviously, priorities, the younger life was kind of your business was always your priority, was your baby, is what you nurtured. But then when it comes down to it, you know, how did you get started in your business? How did that first go from being a dream to being a reality?
Yeah. So I wrote about this in my book, which is this one, Get Off Your Ass. So that's the first one. And actually what I did is I was working for a company over in London, 30 grand a year or whatever. And I was like, I digs over there, 300 quid a month, plus I had to travel there once a week. And actually, when I got my calculator out, I might as well have been on 16 grand a year flipping hamburgers over in Western-super-Mare. So I'm telling myself I'm on 30 grand a year, which is big news for me then. And yet it's costing me 12 grand, 14 grand to get to work. So, and I'm away from it. This is crazy. So they asked me to put a marketing plan together. This was an £8 million company. They asked me to put a marketing plan together for this business. I did it, and for what they was trying to achieve. And it said it was £300,000, the marketing plan. And he went, nah, daft idea, that'll never work. I went, you know what, shove your job up your ass. And I walked. I just said, you know what, go on. That was December the 16th, 2004. And I remember it was a wonderfully liberating experience until, of course, we've got home and the wife was pissed off at me. The wife who just walked in a minute ago, she was pissed off at me. And she started crying. She said, you're going to ruin this family on your own insistence and starting a business off. And that was December the 16th, 2004. So I started my own business off, my own marketing business. And I did all right with it, actually. I did all right. 26 grand I turned over the first year. 46 halfway through the second year, at which point I then binned it to focus on phone networking, because you can't go left and right at the same time. So I realised that, if you had a plan B, you don't believe in your plan A. And my plan A was this phone networking thing, which is what started. And the way that you start any business is, and this is where people go wrong, they focus too much on the big picture. And what I do is I focus on the small picture, and the big picture paints itself. So I launched one group, then 2 groups, then 3 groups, then 4 groups, then 50 groups, then 100 groups, and so it went on. That was it.
Awesome. And why was a networking group? What made you think that you could, take on the networking scene, or what opportunities did you see for networking that you thought that you could do this better?
So I went along to a networking event. I run my marketing firm, and in political terms, you had the loony left where nothing quite happens. It was all very nice, shabbily and vol-au-vents. And then you'd have the local mayor talking about parking provision at Angel Place Shopping Centre, and no one really gives a shit, but you're listening to him chirp on for 45 minutes when actually he's only got 5 minutes of content. And then after that, then people asking daft questions. So, Mayor, you say it's going up from £2.5 to £2.15. What impact do you think that? No. So that was. I went along to them. Then I went along to the hardcore. Right, you've got to attend. You've got to bring visitors. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. I'm thinking, where was the mainstream of networking? Where was the mainstream of networking that appealed to me? Because Looney left didn't. The hard right didn't. Where was the mainstream? It never existed. So I said, you know what? Why doesn't it exist? And that was it. I created it. And I actually based for networking on New Labour 1999. I
love the fact that kind of, you've took your personal experience and thought, this is, people can benefit so much more, because I'm surely thought that when you start that for networking, it wasn't about you. It wasn't right, I'm going to create a better networking business because I want to excel. It's about giving back to people.
No, let me explain what happened. It was about the truth. It was about me getting appointments for my business, because I realised that for appointments for my marketing business. That's why, because I realised how inefficient getting appointments is. You end up travelling to people's offices and this, that and the other. Then I've got an hour with you. Then 2 minutes into the hour, you recognise something that I can't stand. You can't stand me. We've got 58 minutes of bullshit to go. And actually, that was the inefficient way of doing business. And actually what we did is I thought, well, you need appointments, you need appointments, you need appointments. Why don't we put everyone in the room together and we have appointments? And that's what we do. We do it completely unique. The format that I came up with is because I've got no experience in this. I just looked at what would work. Forget about looking at them. Forget about them. I just said, right, what is ideal for punters? Not for the organisation, for the punters. And that's where I came at it. Get the punters bit right first for them, and then the network and the business bit of it came around.
And what was the difference between taking this for network from being, just switching it to your plan A, to your priority, to being the multi-million pound business networking organisation that it is today?
Well, it's not anymore, not with COVID, but it's just like genuinely dropped, gone off. Like that would be it if we'd never changed. So what was the difference? The difference is time. I think this is the thing. If I said to you, how long does it take to boil an egg? You'd say
3 minutes soft boil.
Okay, so 3 minutes. Is there a way of speeding it up?
Not really.
Scrambled. Is that what you wanted? And that's where people go wrong. See, people want to rush it, and especially in today's day and age, when you start looking at these dickhead Facebook adverts and Instagram, where you get some kid who's 26 getting out of a Lamborghini with a fucking suicide doors and putting sunglasses on, and everyone's going, "Oh my god, I can sign up to his mastermind class and I can learn the secrets." It's not bollocks. He'd have the car rented, he'd have got his mate to do the video, and you're daft enough to be spending 10 grand based on what? And this is the thing, and people need to understand this, and this is where I'm coming at. That actually there is no shortcuts, and people would love to believe that there's some fucking daft mastermind class that you can go on, and so all of a sudden, I've been doing this for 14 years, 1/3 of my life to have a business that has collapsed 3 months ago. That just shows you, not through anything that I've done, but something that happened in a wet market in Wuhan, over in China. That just shows you about life. It's that adaptability. And I could sit there going, "Oh, fucking Boris Johnson and the Chinese government need to do." They ain't doing shit. It's down to what I'm going to do. And that's where I'm at.
No, that's awesome. And I think, like I said, it's very insightful that you share that, because not many people from businesses do that, because they don't want to, they want to pretend that everything's happy and ravey and like, yo, look at us, we're amazing.
Correct, and that's the difference, and that's all you'll ever get from me is pure, unadulterated, brutal, fucking honesty. And not everyone likes it. People would rather be told uncomfortable or true or lies. People would rather be told business lies and bullshit. I don't do that. I train people when it comes to speaking, motivational speaking. I train people when it comes to writing books. I train people in terms of mindset. I train people, and I am brutal to the point of actually I've had people in tears, not intentionally, but because I'm saying, look, you're not going through to boot camp. Or if you want to go through a boot camp, I can take you there, but all I'll be doing is taking your money. You ain't going to make it. So what do you want me to do? And that's the difference between me is I could take somebody's money, and actually some people would and pat them on the back, not me.
Yeah, and I think that's what people need to hear is the honesty, because so many of us are hiding ourselves away from the honest truth.
Well, and I think I did that, which is, I was, as you might have gathered, I'm not got a posh voice, but in the olden days, in business, I used to put on a stupid daft posh voice to fit in a business, or wear a fucking 3-piece suit and a pocket watch, just to look posh or to look professional. And at the very point when I started turning my life around was at the point where I said, you know what, fuck it. I've got a shaved head. I'm from Manchester. I've got tattoos. I'm not a drug dealer, by the way, anymore. But, the thing is, we can all change. But the reality is with all this, is that at the point when my life turned around was at the point when I recognised that I'm good enough, that I don't need to be anyone else. And how many motivational speakers are there apart from me and you? How many motivational speakers out there are there that are, at the highest level, shaved heads, from Manchester, wearing Adidas, swaggering about, swearing, and with tattoos? I'm at the top level who've spoke at JTV, Bentley, Costa, Zero, the list goes on. Me, that's it, field of one. And that's what I've done. Whereas if I listen to other people, I need to have my hair put like this and something, only like a 1940s sweetheart. It's like, what are you doing? People have got it all twisted. It is not the t-shirt, the jeans, the trainers that makes me the man that I am. What makes me the man that I am is my background, the background that I used to hide from. The fact that I've been addicted to drugs twice. I got shot at when I was 21. I've got no qualifications. My dad left when I was 6-month-old. I've lived with pizza at 31. I've done 4 years of benefits. That's what makes me a motivational speaker, not fucking some bullshit, which is what it's positioned as. That's how you get into the game.
And have you ever been turned away for wearing a t-shirt and jeans and for corporate gigs? Or was it, because obviously, like I said, people have this expectation of that, a business speaker is going to come with a shirt, a tie, looking posh, when reality it doesn't need to be.
Well, I may have lost one gig as a result of it, maybe 2 in my time, but I don't give 2 fucks. The reality is it's not about the ones that you lost. You can sit there, well, I lost 2 gigs, so fucking what? Fucking hundreds. So this is the thing. So, if you want somebody who's walked up Mount Kilimanjaro in a fucking packer map and slip on shoes, go and find them. But if you want somebody who's going to give you the reality of running a business, of starting a business and getting yourself in a mindset where actually, you've been told or you think that you're a Salford bum and you're never going to amount to anything, and how to turn that around, then I'm your man. But that's the thing, there's a big wide world out there, and if people don't like me for being me, that's okay, go and find something you do. And this is where people go wrong. They start trying to be something they're not, to fit in, to win jobs and win business. And the problem is with selling yourself out for money, is the selling out lasts forever, the money doesn't.
You talked a couple of times now about your mindset and how important it is. You train people with mindset, but also your personal mindset. And why is mindset so important?
It's your biggest chance of success. It's your biggest chance of failure. So if you think about, I'm using a Windows PC at the moment, and on that Windows PC is Windows 10. I wouldn't dream of having Windows 95 on there, right? The operating system, why? Because it would be slow, it wouldn't move fast, it wouldn't be able to process, some stuff wouldn't run, it would be prone to failure, it would be prone to viruses. And this is, an operating system is what you've got in your head. The way that you look at the world, the way that I look at the world now at 47, if I had the operating system that I had now at 21, where do you reckon I'd be? I'd be fucking so much further on. But I've not, and you can only learn that once you've updated it. When you get a computer and it says updating, patch 5 of 7, you're like, oh, for fuck's sakes, and you just press escape because you want to get onto your computer. That's what we do all our lives. Every opportunity you have to upgrade yourself, we can't be bothered because it's too busy going out and watching telly or Netflix, so we just press escape and fucking go on. And actually, that's what I teach people. I teach people that mindset to say, listen, you have a good opportunity, a better opportunity to be the best you that you've got. This is your best chance of success. This is your best chance of failure.
Yeah, I love one of my favourite quotes is those people who say they can and those people who say they can't are both usually right. Correct. It comes down to how you approach it and your mindset moving forward with it.
True story.
you talked about there about, upgrading your mindset to for your best chance of success. But, fundamentally, what opportunities are there that people can start doing today that can immediately start upgrading their mindset?
So I always ask this question: what have you got? What can you do today with what you've already got? Not when you go and get a bank loan, not when you go and get this, not when COVID goes away, not with today. Go and get a blank piece of paper and ask yourself, this is what I did. I don't know what it is. I wrote a blank piece, I can see it there. I wrote a blank piece of paper 3 months ago when the shit hit the fan. What does this make possible? The future of business networking. Get a blank piece of paper, get a pen, and sit there 20 minutes on your phone with a clock, 20 minutes, and just sit there and write at the top, what does this make possible? Start writing. Just be like a fucking Victorian fucking medium. Just start writing. Just fill your page up. And then at the end of it, get a piece of paper. Get a different colour pen. Start putting red lines through half of them. And then the ones that you've got remaining, look at them, and then second to another piece of paper and start working out where the next steps are. Because I promise you, you've got all the answers up here. You just never spend time because you're too busy watching fucking Netflix or Breaking Bad to bother even fucking looking into this stuff. Anyone think about it. Anyone who's ever had a qualification, right? Oh yeah, he's not qualified, Brad. Let me tell you, any qualification is just fucking made up by someone clever anyway. So if you want, I can give you a certificate. But the reality is, I've got no degree in psychology, but neither is the person who made it up. They just made up a degree in psychology. Some big words. And this is the thing. I don't do big words. What I do is simple solutions. Remember the game Mousetrap? You've got this fucking pipe system and a bowling ball and a fucking springboard and a fucking net to catch a mouse. Well, what I do is go and get a mousetrap, put a piece of fucking cheese there, and put it next to the hole. All right. And I'm the dickhead.
That's it. And I think sometimes we convince ourselves that the solutions are a lot harder than we think. And we convince ourselves that we can't do that because that's way over there and we're not there. When in reality, if you made it simpler, it could be done.
Right? And this is what I do. I make everything simple. So many times in our lives, what we end up doing, if there was a 1 foot gap and I asked you to walk over it, 1 foot gap, you'd do it, not a problem. Go and put it 10 foot, you'd do it. 100 foot, you'd start going, oh, fuck me. If I put it a mile up and said, right, 1 foot gap, now you'd be fucking running up. Boom, right? Nothing's changed. You can just fucking walk over it. But now your mind's eye, you've got, oh my God. And that's the thing that people do. They end up making these fucking little gaps massive because of the mindset. And that's what I'm good at. What I'm great at doing is pushing people. I run my own private mentoring club, Now What Club. And what I do is I'm almost like somebody who's at the top of a bungee, dressed up in a bungee suit, with a cord wrapped to the legs, and they don't want to fucking go. And you go, hang about, you never materialised it. You never teleported. At some point, you signed all the declarations. You wanted to do this. So fucking 3, 2, 1. Oh, I don't want to go. 3, 2, fuck off. You're gone. And that's what I do. I push people to do things that they want to do, but they don't have the strength or the courage to do it.
Obviously, if people were to find you on social media today, they often see you speaking at these huge venues, packing up rooms only, standing rooms only, and speaking with some of the best corporate clients, in across the world. But I'm sure you didn't start off on your very first stage in front of 5,000 people. So where did you start?
So I run that for networking, and for networking by principle is that I run networking events, and actually at each networking event for networking, you get the opportunity to do a foresight as a member. A foresight is an insight, not a sales pitch. So you have 10, 15 minutes to talk to an audience. Great thing about for networking is that I've been in brewers fairs when you've got work people having food there, or you've got a lady walking past, or the coffee machine going on, and actually this allows you to get. I've spoken over 2,500 times in public. So that allows you to get experience. And some people go to fucking Toastmasters or fucking Professional Speakers Association, but they ain't doing fuck all. All they're doing is just talking to themselves. Nigel, what you need to do, you need to walk to the right and be an orator. You've got no real experience. So this is like a contact sport. I can go in the gym all day long, bang, 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 bang on the back, fucking great. And then Anthony Joshua stands in front of me and I go, right? It's a contact sport. You need to do it in real life. Not in front of a mirror, not in front of your mum, not in front of your girlfriend, your boyfriend. No. You've got to do it in contact, and that's how I did it. Fortunately, before networking, is that it allowed me the vehicle for me to get practice, because that's what makes you an expert. An expert is someone that's made all the mistakes in a particular niche field. So therefore, if you want to become an expert at speaking, you've got to die on stage. And the only way you die on stage is by getting on stages and dying. And the only way you get on stages is by being good enough to get on stage. It continues. So what I ended up doing, I would speak at events, let's say, in Bridgewater in Somerset, and somebody go, oh, Brad, the speaker next week can't do it. Can you speak? Yeah, so I go and speak in front of 40 people, well, 7 people, 40 chairs, and then you get used to it. And now you realise that actually what you want to do is when you experience is don't have 7 people at the back all sat there. Hi guys, can we move us forward, please? So next time you know how to do it, you get better eye contact, all this kind of stuff. But what ends up happening is people want to skip the steps. People want to skip the steps. They want to go do the big stages. I mean, every time people, Brad, say, "Oh, tell me how you get to big stages. I want to speak out. I've got a message that people want to hear." Well, they don't, because otherwise you'd be fucking doing it. So the way that you get to big stages is by doing small stages. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Right? Okay. So where do we go from here? The only way that you're going to get to the big stages is by doing the small ones. That's it. The only way that you make $5,000 to speak is by getting £50 to speak, then £100, then £250, then £500, then £1,000, and so it goes on. And actually, that's the bit, is that once you start getting to the level I'm at, you can walk away from jobs. And what I mean by that is that you look at what I've said about the last 2 weeks. My first week, 2 weeks ago, I spent in bed as I recovered. I realised that this adrenaline and what my ability to be able to bring passion to anything, right? I mean, I'm not doing it at the moment. I just looked at my heart rate then on purpose just to see where I'm at 71, resting is about 58. But what I can do is if I wanted to, and I'm not going to do it, because this is what got myself in a fucking mess, is I can, bam, I can get into that adrenaline mode. And that's what people say, oh, he talks with passion. I did 20 meetings the week before the crash, 24 networking meetings online, 20 of them, of which I give it fucking 10 out of 10. And then, then you scratch your head as to why you've got no adrenaline left. So it's so important, and as soon as you start in your career, is that you recognise that what you're selling is that passion. You sell the passion, and actually that passion's got to come from somewhere, but it's a finite resource in terms of adrenaline, so don't waste it.
And is that something that, obviously that's something that you've had to learn, but is that something you learned years ago, or is that something you learned 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. And actually, this is what's crazy about this, is that, let me just show you something. So that is red on one side, black on the other side, and it's what I call, I'm just coming up with the brank, I'm calling it a brank, brain bank, right? And actually, when you're living your life and you're spending, you can live in the red, or you can live in the black from a bank account perspective. Well, I've been in the red for so fucking long, intensity, over the last 3 months, that actually you go and have a day off and go, oh, get my intensity down from 4. The most you're going to get it down in a week is 2. So it's easy to get yourself into intensity, difficult to get yourself back out of it. So I've spent the last 2 weeks getting myself from a 4 down to maybe a 1 now. But you could blag yourself and go, oh yeah, I've had a night out with my girlfriend or whatever, we've gone to the cinema, and now I'm down to normal. You're not. And this is something that has taken me, I'm 47, for me to learn that shit. Do you know what I mean? Mental.
Yeah. But it's also the fact, that we're always learning. People think just because they see us doing well is that, oh, they need a finished article, they're polished, they know everything. No, you don't. You're still learning the entire time.
True story, and that's like I say, 2,500 times I've spoken in public, and on occasion I've died big, and actually you kind of, as I said, you need to die to learn how not to die, because most people when they die on stage say, I'm never fucking doing that again. And actually what I ask myself is, what did I like best about it? What would you do next time? And most people don't. That's what makes you an expert, is that ability to go, fucking hell. I mean, I've had photographs I've seen when I've died and my ears are red, like 5 times redder than my face. It's like, what is going on? Because you're heat sick, you're embarrassed. And that ability to be able to go again and learn from that and say, okay, what happened?
And do you sometimes walk away from, although you say you've given your passion, you've given everything you can, 10 out of 10, but sometimes you come away and say, well, perhaps I could have done that a little bit better when you critically reflect on yourself.
100%. So there was a time when I always rate myself when I come off stage. I always rate myself on a scale of 1 to 10, right? Always rate myself. Now my 10 now, would have been a fucking 20 going back then, if that makes sense. It's relative as to where you are right now. So when I did ZeroCon, which I don't know if you've seen ZeroCon, have you seen that one?
I've seen the presentation and the video that you released for a couple of hours and then took it down. Yeah.
So that that was like a 9.5 for me. Everything that was about it was pretty much perfect. There was a few things that I looked at, but and that's ability once again. You're always going to be. You should be your own biggest critic, because people, when you shit and you shit, everyone's polite, right? When you speak and you shit and deep down you shit, oh no, it wasn't that bad. I'm sure lots of people got lots from it and stuff, and maybe they did, but if you don't feel right, then that's kind of themselves. I still remember probably in the last 5 years, 3 gigs that terrorized me to this day, right? But that's all part of it. And you must know, well, I don't know, I'm going to ask you, but do you have it when you're treating yourself backstage, going, oh my God, your heart's racing or not?
No, 100%, all the time.
Right. So that is, there's been times when you go, what am I doing this for? Why am I here? And you're just going to shout you out in a minute. You've got to come out and start waving at everyone. Hiya! And you're like, boom, 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 boom. And you're going, what the fuck am I doing here? And if you could Men in Black and press that fucking thing and give your money back, you would do. But that's what we sign up for, and that's what you've got to remind yourself. And I use, this is my tattoos of the children. That's what I do. I use that and press that to go, right, come on, bro. Did it for you, did it for them.
I can find so much relevance because I also rip myself, and sometimes, and if someone asks me how did that go, I said, oh yeah, it went okay, but I know from my level it was about a 7, and they said, oh no, I'm sure it was great.
How many times have you spoke?
God alive, over the last 7 years, probably 500 times, probably for the last from a young person. But from my life, where I went from being a young volunteer where they'd said, oh, Luke's a young person, let's put him on a stage to represent our company. Yeah. I went from being that to realizing, well, actually, I don't have to represent you, I can represent myself. So I started myself off, and I started off, first of all, just trying to speak for free, trying to earn some reputation and trying to get my message. And then that went from £50 up to, to where I am now.
Sure.
And it's that process, and that's where I've been thankful I've been able to gain that experience. And if I hadn't had that experience, I wouldn't be able to be in the position where I am. But I think in every area of life, you've got to sometimes got to stop and reflect, and you've got to rate yourself, and you've got to see where's your area to grow.
The fact that you're 23-year-old, mate, and actually I didn't start my business till I was 31. You need to be patting yourself on the back. I'm serious. If you was my boy, I'd be fucking well proud of you at 23. I'm serious. So you need to be patting yourself on the back. You're doing beautifully. I mean that sincerely.
No, that's very much appreciated and very kind coming from you. But I know I've got a long way to go, and that's the bit that I love. I just fall in love with the process of doing things. It's like you said, when I'll be brutally honest with you, when probably the same experiences with yourself is when COVID happened. I went, the next 2 months, for example, was April, May was due to be my biggest earning month. I was meant to earn more money in them 2 months than I was over the last 12 months, because that's when things started to take off. Initially, when every single one of them events got cancelled, I had a meltdown, and I crashed for 2 or 3 weeks. I felt sorry for myself, and I realized, well, hang on a minute now. There's a point I can learn from this. I can get better, and I can now spend time doing things that I've neglected.
So this is the thing, Luke, and also from a speaking perspective, you've got an opportunity to use that and say, listen, let me explain. I was all set to do my best 12 months in 2 months, and then COVID comes along, and it wasn't all, and here's the thing. One of the things that I'll give you tip-wise when you're presenting, and this is something that took me 10 years to realise, is don't do it about you. So, for instance, I have to deliver pizzas to keep my business afloat. And the reason I'm saying that isn't to say, oh, how clever I am, but actually, in order for you to get to where you need to be in your life, in your business, you're going to have to deliver pizzas or whatever that thing is. It might be weight start. So bring that back down to them, and actually you'll find that's something that eluded me for 10 years, and then somehow I'm like, well, okay. And it makes such a big difference. So when you talk about your challenges, talk about their challenges.
Yeah, and I think because people can buy into that, you're not trying to be a perfectionist. I'm an Olympic gold medal. I'm not aspiring to be like you. I'm aspiring for you to make the change and see that purpose in yourself, because we all have it.
Correct.
We just need someone sometimes to discover it or to repackage it. And after listening to watching it, your Zero Con talk, it was something that, it was that humor, it was that reality that, look, I'm not trying to be a multi-million-pound business, and that's not me. I'm trying to help you discover what's inside of you, and people can relate to that, and that's when people make the biggest changes.
On Zero Con, when I turn on and say, I realise it's easier to breathe in for 8 hours a day than it is to lose weight, and I show my belly, and actually it's like, that's like, oh my God, nobody would do that, and I did that on purpose. And this is the thing, I use humour massively throughout all my presentations, because it allows you to deliver some pretty fucking hardcore messages with a smile. And like, that's where one of probably my biggest selling point is humour. I'm quite good with comedic timing and stuff. So, it allows me the opportunity.
Awesome. And Brad, I just want to say, yet again, a massive thank you for taking the time out today. I really have learned your insights. It's been another incredible episode. But before I bring this episode to a close, I just want to spend some time acknowledging you, for being the incredible person that you are, for the difference you make, but also for showing up during these dark times that we're all going through right now, and to continue doing service with a smile, and also to being humorous as always. I'm sure that there's not just myself who've helped today, but there are thousands of people who have either read a social media post or listened to you talk, which made a real impact. So on behalf of them, behalf of myself, I just want to say just a massive thank you.
Top man, Luke, and what I'd say to you is at 23, keep fucking going, because you'll be snapping on my heels real soon. And actually, at some point, this old boy's got to go and retire, and we're going to need some new blood, and you are the new generation. And that's the great thing about it, is that, I'm hoping that you can look at the way that I'm taking this thing, which is not about selling certainty to people, but selling honesty, and that's the difference. And as long as you can continue to be you, believe in yourself, you'll make that happen.
And if people want to find out more about Brad Burton, your books, Now What, where can people find you on social media and online?
Just go and Google my name, Brad Burton. But primarily, if you want mentoring, nowwhatclub.rocks is my private mentoring club. What I've done there is I've done something pretty revolutionary, in that I've actually realised that most of these mastermind groups things charge you a load of money, and I've done it at 40 quid a month, because I've got 200 members. And actually what this is about making a positive difference. And the reason I've done the Now What Club is I was getting people asking me for advice and this, that and the other. And it comes to the point where I was burning myself out just answering people. I got 13 inquiries that asking for help in like 3 hours. And actually, you needed to be polite 5 minutes with each of them. That's an hour's time. So I had to put a motor on it. And the other thing, please do. I'd love you to go and check it out, Luke. I think it'd be great for your speaking career. At 4nonline.biz, which is my online network now. Like I said, we're running hundreds of groups every single week. And you can go on there. It's a bit like a train timetable. You can go on there now. It's 11 o'clock. You could be on one at 12 o'clock. It's going to cost you a $5. Give it a go and actually look at that whole foresight, the insight, not sales pitch, which is where I learned to speak.
Awesome. And I'll make sure all the links that Brad talked about just there are linked below. Yeah, in the show notes, you can easily access them, but I do really encourage you to go check them out, follow on Brad on social media and get involved. But before I bring this episode to a close, Brad, I always finish off with something called my final 5, which are 5 rapid fire, quick fire questions with hopefully short and brief answers just to summarize this podcast. Awesome. So question number 1 is, what are you grateful for?
The fact that I've managed to get through this COVID situation relatively unscathed, because it could have been a disaster. I could have been burning the furniture out and the thing. And actually, I've got an amazing team that has supported me and continue to support me and the vision.
Question number 2. If you could go back and give yourself, your younger self, a message that you know now, what would that message be?
Wear a condom.
And number 3, what is the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Be you, like genuinely, be you. It's one of those ones that it kind of eludes people, is that you think you've got to be something in order to fit in. And actually, the thing that you need to fit into is your own fucking life. Don't worry about anyone else. Fit into your own life. Be happy with you.
And question number 4, what is your one top tip when it comes to networking?
Be you. Understand this, that everyone has value, and people go, I'm looking for high net worth individuals, I'm looking for listeners, I'm looking for, it's not that, it's all the people they know. So treat everyone the same with respect. Stop looking at people with pound notes over their heads. Don't underestimate anyone, treat everyone the same with respect.
And finally, question number 5, one of my favourite questions to ask, and that is, what does believing in yourself mean to you?
Recognising that, we can't all be Alan Sugar, we can't all be Richard Branson, but what we can be is a better version of ourselves. And actually, I'm living proof that anyone can turn their life around. I should have been a bank robber. That's the reality of it. And, to have written 4 books, to have started several businesses off, to be a motivational speaker at the highest level. Brad Burton, the guy from Salford, Manchester, who got shot at, addicted to drugs twice, 4 years on benefits, no qualifications. What? That makes no sense. And this just shows you that every one of us can be a better version of ourselves, but no one, I swear to you, no one is going to ring your doorbell, ding dong, and give you a big bag of £50 notes as an opportunity. The only way that you can make that happen is by you doing it. And I tell you something, I'm 47 now. It took me till I was 31 till I realised that. I was waiting for someone to fix my life. No one's going to fix your life unless you do.
Thank you for listening to another incredible episode of the Believe in Yourself podcast. Please do make sure you leave a like, you subscribe down below, and check out our most recent episode right by here. Also, don't forget to leave a comment down below of what was your biggest takeaway from this incredible podcast.